Yes, no, maybe. I don't know. Can you repeat the question? You're not the boss of me now. You're not the boss of me now. You're not the boss of me now, and you're not so big. You're not the boss of me now. You're not the boss of me now. You're not the boss of me now, and you're not so big. Life is unfair.
Hey everybody, Alex the Critic here, and just like every other medium of entertainment, animation is not immune to the cruel realities of business. Take the avenue of television, for example. In order for an aspiring creator to see their work broadcasted on the silver screen in front of millions of people's homes, they need to sell one of the 3 major animation networks on it. To accomplish this, they produce a short proof of concept for their series that they then shop around to whichever television executives they can get a hold of. This work is colloquially referred to as a pilot. Throughout the history of animation, hundreds, if not thousands, of pilots have been produced, though only a small handful of them have actually been picked up and made into full-fledged shows. There are many reasons why a network might pass on a pilot, and since I hardly ever see anybody talk about what can go wrong with these things, I have decided to dedicate a whole series to dissecting failed pilots. Welcome to the drawing board. For the first episode of this brand new show, I have decided to take a look at a rather famous pilot about talking cats who discover the joys of handheld celluloid telephones. This is a Kitty Bobo show. Created by Kevin Kelleher and Megan Dunn, A Kitty Bobo Show is a slice-of-life comedy set in a world of anthropomorphic animals. The pilot follows the wacky hijinks that its eponymous main character gets into after he buys a brand new cell phone, and was produced as one of the 10 entries to Cartoon Network's Big Pick.
Coming August 24th, Cartoon Fridays is going to last all weekend long. That's right, it's the Cartoon Fridays Big Pick Weekend. 53 straight hours of your favorite cartoons. But that's not the half of it. It's time once again for you to pick who will be our next cartoon series. All of your favorite CCF stars will be showing clips of this summer's premieres all weekend long to help you decide. And if that weren't enough, join I Am Weasel every morning and night at 9 for the Big Pick Show, featuring all of the premieres in their entirety, with special guest stars the Grim Reaper and Hector Concardi from Grim and Evil. Oh, did we mention that the premiere of Grim and Evil, our newest cartoon, and the winner of last year's Big Pick is leading off the weekend? Well, it is. But wait, there's prizes too. Every time you see the 1-800 number during the Big Pick Show, not only can you call to cash your vote for this year's Big Pick, but you'll also have a chance to win one of 225 DVD TV prize packs. And you can only win if you call the vote. Head on over to CartoonNetwork.com to find out more. The Cartoon Fridays Big Pick Weekend starts Friday, August 24th at 8, right here on Cartoon Network.
If that advertisement didn't give you enough of an idea as to what Big Pick was, then here's a simple explanation. Big Pick was a competition disguised as a programming block that Cartoon Network, one of the 3 major animation networks that I was talking about earlier, ran in the early 2000s, wherein viewers at home would decide which of the many pilots that were submitted to it would be made into a full series by the network. Cartoon Network would only host the competition twice, in 2000 and 2001 respectively, before canceling the whole block. A Kitty Bobo Show was submitted to the second edition of the contest, where it wound up taking second place. What cartoon did viewers choose to greenlight instead? Yeah, Kids Next Door won the competition, which left all of the other pilots to fade into relative obscurity, a Kitty Bobo show included. So, why did children across the US choose to fight evil adults instead of the evils of modernity? Let's find out by looking into the pilot for a Kitty Bobo show.
The pilot begins with a short opening that consists of Kitty Bobo boarding a crowded train. He then strolls through said train as the camera tracks him from the outside, and it's here where the credits, which in a rather creative touch are plastered on the train as if they were graffiti, scroll by the screen. The opening ends with Kitty getting off the train before the camera zooms out to our first location, a diner named Poochie's Diner that's only a short distance away from the station.
I'm not sure if this was meant to be the proper opening for the show, but if it was, it does a pretty bad job of explaining what it's about. We get to see a bit of Kitty's laid-back personality with how casually he strolls through the train. And I do like the idea of having the intro end with the camera zooming out to the location where the episode actually begins, but we aren't shown nor told that much about Kitty or his life, which is a really bad sign. Worse still, the song that plays during the opening isn't the least bit striking. It sounds boring and generic, like the kind of tune that you would hear while waiting in an elevator.
Anyways, after the opening, we smash cut to the outside of Poochie's Diner, where Kitty's three best friends are hanging out. One of them asks if they've heard from Kitty as he's running late to whatever it is they're supposed to be doing, only for the other two to say they haven't. They then try to strike up a conversation about which movie they should go see together, but are interrupted by the sudden arrival of their friend, who walks up to their table while loudly talking to someone else on their cell phone.
Well, hey man, what's up?
Nothing.
Cool.
Alright, let's get this out of the way before I get a million comments about it. Yes, Kitty is voiced by Dante Bosco, and no, he doesn't make any kind of effort to make the character sound any different from any of his more famous voice roles. To be absolutely fair, this pilot did come out 4 whole years before either Avatar: The Last Airbender or American Dragon Jake Long, so it's not like he had much of a reason to not use the same voice. I believe at this point in his career, his most famous role was as one of the Lost Boys in Hook. However, as a consequence of this, whenever people go back and watch earlier animated films and shows that feature him, they're only going to hear the voice of a different character in their head. Get whatever jokes you want to make about this out of your system now, because this is the only time that I'm going to be mentioning this in this video.
Moving on, Kitty gushes to his friends about how awesome his new cell phone is, letting them hold it for a second before taking it back and showing them his ringtone.
Yeah, check this out. Word. This is the bomb. Listen.
Whoops, sorry, wrong clip.
The lone woman in the group, a pink cat named Maggie, scoffs at Kitty's new toy, arguing that cell phones are old news because everyone has one, an argument that gets deflated when Kitty's bald dog friend named Paul Dog reminds her that none of them have cell phones. The camera then cuts to a tracking shot of some of the streets of the city that they live in, which is called Herbopolis. How do I know that the city's called Herbopolis? Well, those of you with keen eyes might have noticed a sign that was hanging above Kitty's head when he was waiting for the train back during the opening, a sign which reads Herbopolis City Center.
I would complain about how unoriginal that name is, but the name of this entire pilot is a Kitty Bobo show, so I really shouldn't be surprised.
Anywho, the camera then fades to a shot of the outside of a random street corner, where Kitty's other two friends tell Maggie that they can't come with her and Kitty to the movies.
But you guys go and have a good time.
Thanks a lot.
It's awesome.
Hey, they're leaving.
Okay, gotta go, Mom.
Wow, you really know how to pick 'em, don't you, Kitty? Like, seriously, does he really need to say goodbye to his friends? They seem perfectly comfortable just leaving without it.
I do like the face he makes here while Maggie is yelling at him though. It's just so goofy, like he's high on drugs or something.
Hey, later, dudes. Call me anytime on my cell phone.
Stop yelling at me. Stop yelling. Yell. Would you put that thing away already? Come on, it's gonna start soon.
What exactly are you guys going to see? Because the sign on that movie theater has nothing but total gibberish on it.
That was our son. He has a cell phone.
A what?
Man, for characters whose creation has quite an interesting story behind it, it's very disappointing how they only show up for a few seconds in this pilot in order to make one joke.
For those who don't know what I'm referring to, Kevin Callagher based the Kitty Bobo show on his experiences growing up as a Korean who was adopted by American parents. And if you'll notice, Kitty's mom and dad are dogs, whereas he himself is a cat. This mirrors how different Kevin himself was from his own parents.
As much as I love little details like that, they're very hard to appreciate when such little screen time is devoted to them. Kitty's interactions with his parents are so quick and one-dimensional that you could cut them out of the pilot and nothing about it would change.
Welcome to the movies.
All right, I've been waiting all summer for this. Blood-sucking babies.
What are you watching?
Blood-sucking babies.
Well, I can see why that wasn't written on the sign.
Much to Maggie's chagrin, Kitty's phone goes off just as the movie starts playing. Upon learning that his dad is on the other line, Kitty tells him to call later and hangs up on him, but still gets an earful from Maggie about how inconsiderate he's being. Kitty assures her that he put his phone on vibrate, and she lets the issue go. Unfortunately, a little ways into the movie playing, this happens.
Jesus, what kind of phone needs to ring that violently when it's put on vibrate? Yeah, great going, Maggie. You could have told him to just hang up on whoever's trying to call him, which worked last time, but no. Hitting him so that he drops the phone and causes an even bigger ruckus trying to get it back is clearly the superior option here.
Phew. Yo, what's up?
Are you fucking kidding me? Is this jackass really answering the phone again when he's at the movies? Never mind, Maggie, I take it back. You were totally justified in smacking him.
Oh, hey, Dad.
Down in front.
Oh, really?
Hey, you with the cell phone. Take it outside, or I'll take you outside.
I didn't take a bullet in Vietnam for this, you damn commies.
Wait, what? Yo, I'm talking here.
You're in a movie theater, moron. Just walk outside if the call is really that urgent. Damn, if only there was some way that I could have avoided this outcome.
Hello? Hello?
Maggie, I'll be right outside.
Alright, that was a little funny.
Man, talk about rude. Some people, sheesh.
Yeah, how dare people expect to enjoy a movie that they paid their own hard-earned money to go see? That's as rude as people expecting you to ask them if you can borrow their stuff instead of just taking it from them.
Seriously, are we supposed to like this guy? Because he's coming across as a stupid asshole to me.
Well, there's a few more minutes of this pilot left, so maybe we'll see a redeemable side to Kitty's character soon. With that said...
The camera pans up to a shot of an honestly eerie sunset as we see a random plane fly away in the background. We then smash cut to a scene of a police helicopter casting a spotlight down on the city streets, no doubt trying to find the executives who turned down this pilot so that they can be tortured, which promptly flies away. We're then redirected to the same train station from the opening before the camera hovers down to the street directly below it. Here, we see a random guy talking to somebody else on a payphone, with Kitty and Paul creepily watching him from a distance.
Yeah, the blue box went great. Okay, here's the plan. I'm gonna start walking, and when I'm right by Graffiti, you call me on my cell phone.
Okay, who is Graffiti, and why do you care about pulling a fast one on him?
How? I don't have a cell phone.
Use that payphone there.
Man, it's a good thing that there just happened to be another payphone installed on this same street.
Okay, and... Oh, why are we doing this?
Because Graffiti thinks he's really cool.
Well, we can add vain and petty to the list of endearing character traits that our protagonist has.
He is really cool.
Not as cool as I am. I have a cell phone. That makes me cooler. And then you're gonna be cooler too, because you're my homie.
How in the hell does that make any sense? Graffiti's not even gonna know that Paul had any part in this plan. Plus, I think that Graffiti would feel more annoyed at you two for bothering him than he would feel jealous of you two just for having cell phones. God, no wonder Maggie wants nothing to do with you. You're an idiot.
All right. Do you have a quarter? Never mind.
So not only is Paul going along with this bullshit, but Kitty has him use his own money to operate the payphone? Why are the writers doing everything in their power to make these characters unlikable? They do know that making an endearing cast is integral to producing a successful product, don't they?
Yeah, man. Right. Graffiti? Yeah. Hey, man. Are you still using a payphone? Hang on a second. What do you want, Bobo? Yeah, these babies are getting real rare these days. Especially because now all the cool people got cell phones.
Yo, I'll call you back. Look, kid, let me tell you something.
Oh, excuse me, Graffiti. I have a phone call on my cell phone. Kitty Bobo here. Oh, hey, baby. Sorry, man. I gotta take this. It's my honey.
Please punch him, please punch him, please punch him.
Later, man. Oh, yeah, baby, I'm feeling good. How you feeling?
Stupid.
Listen, dude, you helped Kitty with his scheme with next to no pushback, so you lose the right to complain about it.
Listen, can I hang up now?
That was awesome. Dude, you should have seen him.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he was all sad.
Huh, so he fell for it.
Oh, yeah. I'm definitely way cooler than him now.
Okay, 1, thank you, Graffiti, for being the only character other than Maggie who I can actually root for, and 2, how does this little stunt make either of y'all cooler than Graffiti? It's not like you're embarrassing the dude in front of like 100 people or something. If you're gonna be a dick, could you at least be smarter than this?
Oh, really?
Graffiti?
Damn it! If only Graffiti didn't have the sense to walk around the corner and spot the very payphone we were using!
That's right, Bobo. I'm here with your honey. I hope you don't mind. Now, let me tell you what I was gonna tell you before. You may have a cell phone, Kitty Bobo, but you are never gonna be cool. See you later, honey.
No, Graffiti! Don't go! You're a way more likable and endearing character than Kitty and his friends!
Oh,
Aw, man, busted.
he hit me.
Oh, boo-hoo! Let me play a sad song for you on the world's smallest violin.
Oh, okay, listen. I saw Coco across the way. I bet she'll fall for it.
Our heroes, ladies and gentlemen. He ropes his friends into his stupid, petty pranks and then doesn't even show the slightest bit of remorse when they get hurt over it. Wouldn't you just love to see more of his adventures?
Paul does the smart thing for once and blows Kitty off, calling his little prank stupid before telling him that they'll see one another tomorrow. An unaffected Kitty walks off the screen wearing another dopey expression on his face, and we fade to black.
Walk. Don't walk. Walk. Don't walk.
A metropolitan city whose drivers not only obey traffic laws, but are fast and orderly about it? Now I know that this is a cartoon, because this would never happen in real life.
We smash cut to Kitty, who's riding around the city on his bicycle. He calls up Maggie, who angrily shuts down his attempts at small talk by telling him that she's busy with work before hanging up on him. Undeterred by her negative reception, Kitty decides to call Paul, who also hangs up on him after telling Kitty that he's about to go out, presumably to do some errands. Of course, throughout these two exchanges, Kitty is completely oblivious to all of the trouble he's causing by not paying attention to the road. Not only does he ignore a bus he's holding up, even though it's honking at him, but he also nearly collides with an innocent passerby. You know, in case you were starting to feel a little too sympathetic towards him.
Man, I know. Monkey Carl. I can instant message with my cell phone. Cool.
I think you forgot to add a with to that sentence, writers. Otherwise, what the hell does it mean to instant message your cell phone? And wait, why doesn't Kitty try to call Carl before texting him?
Well, anyways, Carl asks Kitty if he's at the library, to which Kitty answers that he's riding his bicycle. Like any person with common sense, Carl admonishes Kitty's reckless behavior by calling him crazy, but Kitty rebuffs him, arguing that he's not crazy, just really cool. Of course, Kitty winds up riding into a construction site without realizing it, although how the hell you can smash through a wooden sign without noticing it is anyone's guess, and narrowly avoids going up a conveniently placed ramp. Luckily, Kitty doesn't get off scot-free as he crashes into a wall of a nearby building and drops his cell phone. After gathering his bearings, he looks over and screams in horror as he discovers that his phone has been smashed into a bajillion pieces. Wait, what?
Huh? No!
That's just impossible! I mean, think about it!
This phone, as was demonstrated to us earlier in this pilot, was strong enough to violently shake a person's entire body when vibrating and survived being dropped onto and slid across the floor of a movie theater without suffering so much as a scratch on it. So, how does getting dropped onto concrete from like a foot in the air completely demolish it? That doesn't make any sense.
The camera fades back to the outside of Poochie's diner, where Kitty's friends are hanging out and having fun over what I presume is coffee of some sort. A bruised and battered Kitty runs into the restaurant and makes a beeline to their table, where he proceeds to tell them what had just happened to his cell phone. His friends, however, don't have time to listen to his sob story because, in a cruel twist of fate, they all have their own cell phones, and they run off to answer the calls that they're getting. Distraught at this turn of events, Kitty cries out in pain as the camera zooms out to a shot of the city's citizens all talking on their cell phones. We then smash cut to the closing credits, which consists of little more than a drab, uninspired series of shots of blank 3D buildings. The main characters are strewn about the scenery, though they do nothing other than just stand around. As for the song that plays during this sequence, it's nothing special. It's not horrible by any means, but it's very dry and forgettable, with the uplifting piano and the little girl, at least I assume it's a little girl, screaming Kitty's name being the only worthwhile things about it.
Kitty Bobo!
So that was a Kitty Bobo show, and I gotta be honest, you guys, I didn't really like it. Alright, before I get a million angry comments from the fans of this pilot, let me just make it clear that this wasn't the worst cartoon I've ever watched. There are, in fact, quite a few things to like about it.
For one, the voice acting was very good, and helped make the characters feel like real people. Worth particular praise are the performances of Dante Bosco, who, as you already know, played Kitty, and Leela Lee, who played Maggie. They did a terrific job of imbuing their characters with a sense of warmth and zeal, such as when Maggie told Kitty to stop bothering her at work, and when Kitty sobs to his friends about what happened to his phone. All of which helps make them endearing characters.
That's not to say that the other voice actors were terrible or anything. I actually think that Monkey Carl had a pretty cool voice. It's just that the rest of this cast didn't get quite as many opportunities to flex their voice acting muscles. What they gave us was still very decent though.
For two, the art style was appealing, despite the animation itself being obviously rushed in some places. It's simple and cutesy, but not in an obnoxious way, if that makes any sense. The character designs are also pretty good. Every character in our main cast stands out enough from the background characters in the pilot, with Maggie having the best design of them all. The only thing I wasn't particularly fond of were the set pieces. While I liked how the pilot showcased some of the characteristics of the city of Herbopolis itself via events such as the traffic being fast but orderly and police copters roaming the streets for criminals, I found some of the backgrounds to be a bit too empty and jumbled, which ultimately led to the pilot looking rather ugly.
Alright, now that I've thrown a few bones at the fans of Kitty Bobo, it's time for me to discuss my issues with this pilot.
First and foremost, our main character is a shallow, selfish, and borderline retarded dickhead. I'm not evoking the term retarded to be derogatory either. I genuinely think that Kitty has some kind of developmental disorder. It's the only reasonable explanation for why he doesn't seem to grasp very basic and straightforward concepts pertaining to how one should behave in public. Like that you shouldn't talk loudly on the phone when you're attending a screening at the movie theater, or that you should pay attention to the road when you're riding any kind of vehicle. On top of that, his gross disregard for the well-being of his friends also helps make him a really difficult character to root for. Worse still, we aren't shown any redeeming qualities that Kitty may have, so all we're stuck with is a raging jackass whose only endearing trait is that he's voiced by a talented voice actor.
Kitty's abysmal characterization goes hand in hand with the next problem I have with this pilot, the story.
A Kitty Bobo show doesn't tell an interesting, memorable story within its 7-minute runtime, and that's because hardly anything happens in this episode, and what little does happen is contrived as hell. It's your basic, conceited jackass learns the hard way that there are consequences for being a conceited jackass story that's been done a million times over and has definitely been told better. Sure, there are glimpses of engaging storytelling here and there, such as when Graffiti shuts down Kitty and Paul, but that's about all we're given. We don't learn anything about Kitty's two male friends, or his parents, or even what any of them do for a living. The only character aside from Kitty that we're shown anything about is Maggie, which would have been fine if the show was solely about her and Kitty, but it isn't.
I understand that there's only so much story that you can tell within 7 minutes, but then why would you devote so much of that runtime to lame, tired gags about cell phones instead of fleshing out your characters? I mean, this wouldn't be that much of a problem if a Kitty Bobo show was meant to be a one-off short film, but the problem is that this was supposed to be a pitch for an ongoing TV series that would ostensibly follow more of Kitty's adventures. I'm sorry, but I just can't see myself signing off on a series that gives me very little to latch onto. Next on my list of complaints is the music. I already talked at length about how much I hate the end credit theme to this show, so let's tear into the background music that was used throughout the actual pilot. To put it simply, the songs rarely fit the mood of the scenes they're played in.
Take for example the vibrant, upbeat drum and flute music that plays when Kitty and Paul tried to pull a fast one on graffiti.
Okay, here's the plan. I'm gonna start walking, and when I'm right by graffiti, you call me on my cell phone.
How? I don't have a cell phone.
Use that payphone there.
The music should sound a little more devious and playful in this scene, but instead it just makes the situation feel no more different than when Kitty and his friends are talking at Poochie's diner. And what doesn't help is that there is a more sinister, bell-based song that plays throughout this scene.
Hey man, are you still using a payphone?
Hang on a second. What do you want, Bobo?
Yeah, these babies are getting real rare these days. Especially because now all the cool people got cell phones.
But the beat switches between the two of them at random intervals.
Oh yeah, baby, I'm feeling good. How you feeling?
Stupid. Listen, can I hang up now?
That was awesome. Dude, you should have seen him.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he was all sad.
Which just makes me confused as to how I'm supposed to be feeling about what's going on. Of course, not every background song is awful. The fast-paced synth track that plays when Kitty is texting while biking conveys the danger that our main character is unwittingly putting himself through pretty well, and that 50s-esque swing music that plays in Poochie's diner during the last scene captures the vibe of that set piece perfectly. However, just like those engaging story beats I mentioned earlier, these songs are sandwiched between tracks that either fail to enhance the mood of the scene or are just lame and uninspired.
The final problem I have with this pilot is the comedy, and my issues with the comedy can be succinctly explained as such. I have already seen all of these jokes told 1,000,000 times before, and I've seen them told 1,000,000 times better.
Everything from Kitty putting himself in danger because he's paying more attention to his phone than what's going on around him, to Kitty loudly telling his friends to call him on his cell phone because he just needs to remind everyone that he has a cell phone, has been done in a load of different slice-of-life comedies, and the way that these hijinks played out in the pilot rarely elicited so much as a chuckle out of me. Maggie revealing that the movie she and Kitty are seeing is called Blood-Sucking Babies was the only mildly funny thing in this pilot, which is ironic given that that joke has nothing to do with cell phones. You know, the thing that the main story centers around. Seeing Kitty get left in the dust by his friends now that they all have cell phones is satisfying, but I didn't consider it particularly funny because, again, I've seen this exact same twist done in a much more enjoyable fashion in a ton of other shows.
This is why I think the writer should have focused more on fleshing out Kitty and the world that he lives in, because what little they do realize with this concept doesn't make for entertaining television. If I had to speculate as to why the viewers of Cartoon Network chose to greenlight Codename Kids Next Door over a Kitty Bobo show, I'd say that it came down to two things. The former told a way better story and had way more endearing characters. While the pilot for Kids Next Door was definitely rough around the edges, I think it did a fantastic job at telling a story which not only explained who each member of the main cast were, but what their secret spy organization was all about. On top of that, the pilot for Kids Next Door was definitely a hell of a lot funnier.
It seems that our enemies, the grown-ups, have extended their Adult Swim so that kids have absolutely no swim time of their own. And we all know how boring a bunch of grown-ups are in a pool.
Yeah, number one, they never splash around or do cannonballs.
And they never scream real loud!
Or dunk each other under the water. Move over!
Hello!
You move over, number four.
Knock it off! Why are we in the kiddie pool?
Because the water's nice and warm?
Okay, I've got a plan. First, number 3 will... Hey, where is number 3?
At the snack bar.
Number 5 ordered nachos.
Are you guys crazy? You can't eat now.
With all of these things going for it, on top of the fact that the core premise behind Kids Next Door was far more interesting than what a Kitty Bobo show offered, it's no wonder why kids across America told Megan and Kevin to go back to the drawing board. I'm Alex the Critic, and I'll see you guys next time.